guys, and welcome back, and welcome if you're new. Today I am starting off my fall series. I cannot believe that it is that time of the year where everybody on YouTube is creating DIYs, so I thought I'd join in. For this very first one, I got an idea from Holly from her humble pie, and she had created something really similar to this, but she was using a recycled coffee container. I am using this glass jar that I picked up at Dollarama, and I am adding a little bead to the top of the lid for a handle effect. And then she also shared some printables on her in her video. I'm not sure if they are hers or they're someone else's, but I will be sharing those in my description box as well, same ones that she shared. And then I'm going to be using some white chalk paint as well as antiquing wax and some black paint. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is get this jar painted. And I'm going for that rustic look, so I will be painting the jar with one coat of paint. And before I get started on that painting, I'm just going to quickly hot glue this bead to the lid so it has time to cure while I paint the jar. Are you guys ready for fall? Fall is definitely one of my favorite seasons, being Christmas is the first one to create DIYs as well as decorate my home. So I am super excited to be diving in and creating some brand new DIYs here on this channel, and I can't wait to share them with you. I have so many ideas. I just hope I have enough time to share them all with you. Our stores haven't gotten the supplies yet. Like the Dollar Tree doesn't have any fall items. Dollarama has barely any fall items. So I'm just pretty much for now working with things that I have on hand, upcycling old pieces that I no longer want to use, as well as just using up some of the supplies that I had left over from last year. So for this lid, I am going first with the dark antiquing wax, and then I'm going to fill it in with a black paint. You could do this the other way around. I just like the effect that this made the paint, kind of gave the paint with having the wax on first. I was going for more of that wood look to create this, like I said, to create more of a wood look on this lid. The bead that I had hot glued onto the top of it did actually come from my leftover daycare craft stash. I have several of them still left and slowly using them up. If you're stopping by my channel for the very first time, welcome. My name is Sonja, and here on my DIY channel I create tons of seasonal decor DIYs as well as furniture upcycles and trash to treasure makeovers. So if this is something that interests you, I would love it if you considered pressing that subscribe button and becoming part of my YouTube family. Once the glass jar had time to dry, I'm going to glue it, the design onto it, and I'm using school glue. That is what I'm going to use to glue the design on, and then I'm going to blend it in and apply Mod Podge on top of it for that finished look. I love these type of designs. I love using them. If you know from last year, I love decorating with tons of pumpkin in my home. So naturally, a lot of my DIYs are going to be some sort of a pumpkin DIY. I think, like I said, I have over, I think, 100 pumpkins that I decorate with, and I love signs, and I love anything pumpkin, even for food wise. I'm also love the truck, which I will be doing a lot of the DIYs using the not necessarily red truck, but some sort of a truck in my decor. Just a little tip, if you have a screw-on lid, make sure you don't go overly heavy with the chalk paint in the grooves because you're going to have a hard time screwing the lid on. So here it is. I think it's going to look fabulous on top of my fall beverage station, coffee station, and I can't wait to use it. For my next one, I am repurposing one of these Merry Christmas signs that came from Dollarama, and then also I've had this chipboard pumpkin that I made last year, but it came apart, so I'm going, instead of throwing it out, I'm going to repurpose it. Here, I'm going to be creating a sign. I'm also going to use some of those garden sticks that I've had left over still from summer DIYs and spring DIYs, and I'm just trimming off the tips and hot gluing them onto the sign. I am going a little bit over the top edge as well as over the bottom edge. That will create almost a little bit of a bigger sign. Because I'm not going to be using those holes on the sides, I am just going to fill them in with a little bit of wood glue just to smooth them out so there is no hole on them. And you want to let this fully dry before you do anything else to the sign. Once my glue has dried, I apply a coat of black acrylic paint, and I want to have lines going up and down, not across on the red part. And then I'm going to do the same technique with a brown acrylic paint, and this will give me almost that wood grain stained effect. Once I was done with painting it, I will let this piece fully dry, and while it's drying, I am just going to cut out the harvest letters, a word out of just a very thick cardstock. This would look really good if you had the harvest wood letters from Dollar Tree, I think, but I didn't have any on hand, and like I said, our Dollar Tree hasn't had any supplies yet, so I am just improvising. And then because the paint was still not completely dry, I just went ahead and glued the rope to the back of it for hanging. And then at this time, I'm also going to just put my pumpkin back together. That one side did fall off of it, and I used a Cricut to cut out these ovals on the chipboard, so that way that's how I made this pumpkin. If I can I'll find the video and I will link it in a description box or in the sky as well for you to check that video out if you want to make a pumpkin like that yourself. So here are the letter, here's the word. I am just popping it out using the little tool from that came with my Cricut machine. I don't need to use transfer tape here because it's just cardstock, and I don't see why you would need to use transfer tape for this. Once I had the letters all popped out, I will flip the sign over and use hot glue to glue the pumpkin as well as the letters on. Now I did get a little bit of blob of I think that was Mod Podge, but I just brushed it on and blended it in. Now when I was hot gluing this pumpkin, because it was a little bit on a bigger, thicker pumpkin because of the chipboard, the edges were curling up a little bit, so I just put a can of paint on top of it and used my hand on the other side just to hold it down until the glue had a chance to cure. And I used the hot glue for the letters as well. And here it is, and I think this is one of my favorite pieces I've made. I really love the way this turned out and then the way it looks. And the next craft or DIY was inspired by Chick on the Cheap. And she had used these little pumpkins that she picked up at Dollar Tree with the lids. Now, like I said, our Dollar Tree doesn't have anything, although if I find them, I will be creating this for them as well. So I used one of these candles, the religious candles from a Dollar Tree, and I just put them in a pot with some water and let the wax melt. This took about 45 minutes, and then once the wax was fully melted, I took out the wick and then I transferred the wick to my pumpkin that I had. This was a thrifted pumpkin, and then I poured the wax in and let it set. And here it is. You can even add some essential oils to it or even food coloring if you'd like. I think this would look really, really good with those little pumpkins from Dollar Tree, just like she made on little trays or as gifts as well. This DIY was another repurposed DIY, and if you saw my last two videos, I have been really enjoying using napkins in my DIYs, and that's what I will be using on this one. So I did this DIY about 3 or 4 years ago, and I never used it last year in my decor, so I thought this year I was going to repurpose it. So I am just painting the black part with some white acrylic paint, and then white chalk paint, and then I'm using these napkins that I picked up at Dollarama, and I'm using two sides, and they were opposite of each other, and I'm just trimming them so it fits well together, so it looks like one picture is on there instead of two sides, I guess. So and then I'm going to be using some Mod Podge just to apply it on. Now I was so busy cutting out and trying to fit the pieces together, I totally forgot to separate my napkins. I do recommend separating the layers and using just the one layer, the top layer, because otherwise it will try and bubble up on you once you are applying the Mod Podge on top of it. And here it is. It did turn out really, really nice. I was a little bit worried that the bubbles are going to show, but they did end up drying and didn't show too bad. Now for this last DIY, I am using this wooden box that I picked up at Dollarama. It is a wooden planter. It was in their garden section, and I'm just giving it a light coat of the chalk paint, the white chalk paint, on all the sides. This DIY was so simple to make, and I think it's going to look great on a tray. I think it is a little bit too small to be a centerpiece on a table, but I think on a tray with other items it will look really, really good. So once I had all the sides painted, I did paint the top of it with a little bit of that brown and black paint that I had left over from the sign paint. And I just applied that right just on top and then blend the sides with the white chalk paint just so it kind of looks like it's been all there all together. And then I had this blessed cutout from my Cricut since last year that I was going to use on a project, and then I changed my mind, so I saved it, and now I get to reuse it. I did struggle a little bit because I think it wasn't really sticking as good as I would have liked it. I don't know whether it was because I did cut this out last year or the surface wasn't maybe completely dry and that's why it was coming off, but I just added a little bit of the Mod Podge on top just to make sure that the letters stay put. And then off camera I just decorated it just to kind of show you what ways that you can decorate it. This is just obviously one of the ways that you can do it. Well, I hope you enjoy these DIYs. Like I said, I'm super excited to be starting my fall series and sharing them with you. I hope you are as excited for them as I am. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if you're looking forward to my fall DIYs, and don't forget to press that subscribe button if you are new, and also don't forget to press the notification bell because that way you will know when the new videos pop up. So until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you all so much for watching.